Welcome to the counselor tutorial for managing patient demographics. We'll begin within the patient administration screen. Now there are three primary tabs that you want to focus on: the general, contact, and demographics tabs. You can think of these three tabs essentially as being linked. I'll explain why later. We'll start here in the general tab. You'll see for this patient profile, the minimum kind of basic information is in place. We have first name, last name, and date of birth. Of course, there are more areas that you can enter, including you can type in alerts, you can add tags specific to this patient profile, and a whole host of other areas that you can designate. The status, depending on your particular settings within your clinic, may start off as prospect when the patient's first created. It may start off as active, right? So you may see this differently. In addition, if it is set as prospect, once you've created a visit or you've created an invoice for a patient, it will automatically switch to active. Okay. Beyond that, of course, you have the ability to change the status at any time, including making the patient profile inactive, setting them as deceased. Of course, you still have the ability to access your patient profile even once they're set as inactive and deceased. It's just a status within their profile. Once again, there are a whole host of different options you can add, including designating a physician. In this case, let's say a primary physician, say Dr. Baldwin. That process of clicking on the search feature, selecting the physician, will automatically save your work. Right? So if we navigated away from the screen at this point, everything we've changed at this point would have been saved. Okay? Now, if we type in the physician's name, let's just take the same physician's name. We start typing in. We can find the physician that way as well. So there's you can either type in the physician's name or use the search tool. Okay. I highlight that because when you go through the process of adding the physician, as I mentioned, it saves. That when you add other changes to the patient profile, you'll want to make sure you do manually save. What I mean by that is, let's just say we popped in here and we wanted to add an employee ID number. Okay, great. Before we navigated away, meaning before we searched for a new patient, before we maybe jumped into the appointments tab and selected new appointment or invoice and new invoice option, we want to make sure we click save. That will lock in that change to the employee ID. If we added something like the employee ID and then navigated away, we run the risk of possibly not saving. So it's a very important point when we're talking about patient demographic information or patient contact information, is that we are saving once we've completed those changes. With that said, as I noted with the physician, this is an example of a tool where a save is built in. So once you select, you'll see the screen refresh. At the very top, you'll see changes saved. It will not only save that change, but any other changes you've made as well. Okay. Now, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of different things you can do within the screen. A couple areas I want to highlight would be the patient profile picture. This gives the ability to scan in an image of the patient, most commonly their photo ID. As you know, as you may know, the scanning feature in Counselor is a direct scan feature. It goes directly from the scanner right into Counselor. There's also the Snapshot app, which is an app that we've created that enables you to use your mobile device, so your smartphone or tablet, to take a picture of the patient or of their photo ID, and it will load directly into this area. The other main option here is the webcam feature. Of course, you can have webcam set up on your front desk with the purposes of taking a picture of the patient's smiling face, or have it facing the counter where the patient can set the ID down and you can snap a picture of their ID. These features are also available when we're talking about getting images of insurance cards and scanning, having documents stored in place. So these features show up elsewhere as well. As I mentioned, these tabs are linked. So when we look at the contact information, of course, you can enter as much or as little information as you want here. You can designate what type of phone number it is. You can, if you have texting enabled, you can text from here. You can set primary contact information options, do not call, do not text options, do not email, do not mail, right? A lot of different options within this screen, okay? And the same thing goes for the demographic tab, where you can enter as much or as little information as you like here. Now, getting to the point of these three being linked, if I was to make changes to all three of these tabs, let's just go ahead and say English is first language. Maybe I wanted to add in a secondary phone number. What you notice here is that I'm navigating between the tabs. Now I'm going to the general tab, and in this case, I want to add in a patient ID number. Let's add that quickly. If I was to hit save here, or on the Contact tab, or on the Demographics tab. It will save the work I've completed across all three of these tabs. It's the same Save button regardless of which tab we're on. And that, by the way, includes other tabs as well. So if you made a change, maybe let's say I added a middle initial in for Dale. And then I jumped over to the questionnaires tab because I was going to send out some questionnaires to him, but realized, oops, you know what? I didn't save it yet. Perfectly fine. You go ahead and click Save. That will lock in the change we just made for his initial. So any tab you're on, this Save button is going to save the changes you made in these first three tabs. Now, most commonly, you would make a change, let's say in the General tab, and then you go down and click Save, right? That's going to be the most common thing. But you do have options there as well. Of course, if you have any questions about managing patient contact information, demographics, other particulars, please let us know. Give us a call, email us, live chat us. We are always happy to help. So thank you very much for joining us for the Counselor tutorial for managing patient demographics.